Well, hello, everyone. Kathy Buccio here from Talk Shop Live. I am so excited because it's not every day we get to chat with singer, songwriter, actress, mother, wife, all the things over here, producer Rita Wilson, everybody. So, welcome her. We are talking her brand new album, Sound of a Woman. And before we get started, because we're really going to do a deep dive here, we want to remind you how you can order. So, if you're watching now on the platform on Talk Shop Live, make sure you click that shop button DMs in order to purchase. If you're watching on Instagram, remember the link in bio. And if you're on YouTube, because I know you're going to be everywhere watching this, and make sure you go to that link in bio as well. They'll give you directions to pre-order the album. I am so excited. We have the live chat too, so make sure you add those questions in there and ask Rita whatever it is you like. Rita, welcome.
Thank you, Kathy. Really happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, of course. So first of all, let's get started. Let's talk about the album. One of the things that I really found interesting about Sound of a Woman is that you said, and quote me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I did a lot of research on this. You actually said that this is when you found your voice, that now is when you really found your voice, because this was such a personal and emotional journey for you. So tell me a little bit about this album specifically, and how, like, what it meant to you.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, you're right about that. I feel like this album is sort of a process of what it's like to explore different phases and different experiences of a woman's life. And really the songwriting process in itself was the beginning of finding my voice, literally or metaphorically. But this particular album is a narrative arc of these different phases of a woman's life. And yeah, I mean, look, I think I was in between two generations of like my mom's generation, and then there was me, and there was then this future generation of women who were really paving the way for me to use my voice. And yet I was sort of like an astrological sign when you're on the cusp of Scorpio and Sagittarius. It was kind of like that. I had the values of my mom's generation, and then also the values of these women that were just ahead of me. So I wasn't really old enough to go out and burn my bra, but I wanted to. And it really showed me in so many ways that women were out there fighting for our rights, for equality, and for so many things that actually impacted my life later.
And I feel like maybe with this album, it feels a little it feels open. Not that you're not open in your past work, and this is your sixth album now, but it feels a little more vulnerable, a little bit more open. So at all during the process, as you were writing, as you were recording, did you ever feel, gosh, am I sharing too much? Is this too personal? Or was it one of those like burn your bra moments where you're like, you know what, I don't care, let's do it?
It was a little of both, I think. Yeah, it was totally different. Vulnerable writing it because I wrote it with Amy Wadge, who's an incredible songwriter. She has written so many wonderful songs, has Grammys. She wrote Thinking Out Loud with Ed Sheeran. And she and I really wanted to explore this. And, you know, you have to be really honest when you're songwriting. I remember when I first started songwriting, it was somebody asked me, like, what's it like? And I'm like, what's it like?
Hmm.
I said, it's kind of like you meet a complete stranger. You walk into a room, you meet a complete stranger, you strip naked emotionally, you make beautiful musical intercourse, and you leave with a gorgeous song baby. Because that's how intimate and intense it is. And but in a way that really taught me that, like, that's what it should be like. Like, you want to be able to go that deep, and you want to be able to tell the story that you want to tell. So in this one, Amy and I were on completely in sync about what we wanted to say and what we wanted to write about. So yeah, so that definitely, the songwriting process was vulnerable, but then also the recording process, because Dave Cobb, the amazing producer
Yeah.
that I worked with, he is known for producing Chris Stapleton and Brandi Carlile, and he's got 9 Grammys, and he is a person. When we first met, he said, if we ever work together, I would want to bring your voice forward. I'm like, what does that mean? And so when I sent him the demos and said, would you be interested in doing this? He's like, oh my God, yes. And I think we should record it live. And I was like, no.
You're like, all these new things you want me to do.
What do you mean? Like, that's so scary. He's like, why would you be scared? You perform live. What's so scary about just recording it live? And I'm like, I don't know. I had just never done it before. And usually when things are scary like that, then I'm like,
Mhm.
I should be doing them. So that's what he encouraged me to do, and that's what we did. And we recorded in this iconic studio in Nashville called RCA
Mhm.
Studio A. And Studio A is where just this so many people have recorded in there, but one of my heroes, Dolly Parton, wrote and recorded in the same day Jolene and I Will Always Love You.
That is a sign, Rita.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
sign. The jury of one is the new Jolene.
yeah. For the modern woman.
Modern woman for the you see?
Exactly.
That's incredible. What was that experience like? I mean, like you're walking into like this almost like this like creative cloud of like those that came before you, and here you are creating this amazing album. Like it must have been like, I mean, it has to be like a pinch me moment.
It is. I think there are a few studios in the world that have that kind of history, cachet.
Mhm.
One of them is Capitol Records in Los Angeles, in Hollywood. I think Electric Lady in New York, probably Abbey Road in London, and of course, RCA Nashville. So there's Studio A and Studio B, and yeah, you really do feel the vibe of all the creation that's happened in those places, all the music that's gone on, all the people that have walked through those doors, and I don't know, but it's palpable. It's one of those things that you do really feel. You're not just walking in and looking around going, "Oh, this is cool." You're walking around and you take it in. There's history there, and it looks very similar to what it looked like back in the day. So it hasn't been overdone or remodeled in a way that's taken away its character and its authenticity.
So
One
Dave,
one night when we were there, it might have been one of the first nights, Dave took us over to Studio B, which
okay.
is where, Elvis recorded Are You Lonesome Tonight? And
Wow.
it was so cool because when he recorded that song, he asked the engineer to turn down the lights so that he could sing it, record it in the dark because he wanted to get that feeling of what it was like to be lonesome in the nighttime. And so that's what we did when we were listening to it. We turned off the lights and listened to it and, Elvis singing, surrounded by his voice. And boy, that was great.
That's a moment. That's a moment right there. So it's safe to say that Dave and Amy have really brought out in you with this album something creatively new for you. And then the songwriting process when you work with Amy, or even when you work alone on the music, Rita, what's your process like? I mean, I love to hear when every artist has like their own way of putting together of their songs, or they're writing them down, or they're waking up in the middle of the night because they have a thought. Like, how is that for you?
Oh, just general songwriting. I have a whole thing in my notes that is all lyrics, it's song titles, it's ideas, it's voice memos, it's anything that comes to mind. Sometimes you can just be you could see something. It can be an article in a magazine or a newspaper. It can be something you've heard in conversation. um, that that there's a song on the album, for example, called Better for Her, and that one was a story that I heard about someone I knew. It was a woman. She was married to a guy, and they were struggling a little bit because he wouldn't stop smoking weed and drinking, and she was trying to get him to do that because they had kids, and, she wanted him to be present for their family. And he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. And so she ended up leaving him. And about 6 months later, he meets a new person and he completely stopped drinking and smoking weed for this woman, this new
Like,
person. And I thought, God, that's so interesting because, sometimes in relationships, you do all the work to really keep the relationship together, and you tell your partner like these things that you would want to see different, but they can't do it for you. So you've actually made them better for her, for the new person. So
you
that
put in all the
that's
work.
there's a lot I really like,
Right.
which is she's got everything I wanted because all the good in you's got my name on it.
I mean, That's incredible. I can't wait to break that down a little more. But I do want to, before I want to show a music video, but before we do that, I do want to talk about this particular song. And I want you to tell me when you wrote it, what the thought process was behind it. Because I told you before we went live, I go, this needs to be the anthem for every woman. It's called Jury of One. It's actually one of my favorites. I think this idea of women having the guilt that we carry as women, the need to over apologize for things when we don't need to, but almost feeling like you just feel bad, and you shouldn't and feel bad for enjoying all these like beautiful things that you're probably have in life. So tell me a little bit more of that song.
So Jury of One is about that experience. I think definitely, I know in my group of friends that we do feel that there are times that we're apologizing for things that we really shouldn't be apologizing for, but also that there's a guilt that comes if you're pursuing something you really want to do, if that's creative work or any kind of work that you do. I always feel that I'm being torn by something else that I should be doing. When my kids were little, it was them. I wanted to be with them. And then when I was with them, you were always kind of like thinking like, oh, am I going to be able to get, back to what I need to do? And that sometimes meant staying up late at night to finish something that you were working on. And I don't know a woman who doesn't have some form of guilt at any point during the day. And then I like to say that guilt has a twin sister called apology. And apology is that thing that we do where I'm constantly apologizing for things that I shouldn't be apologizing for. And I think that women do that in general. And it just is what it is. But I do think that's part of the conditioning that, at least in my generation, I certainly had. I really like a lot of the voices that I'm hearing from young women in their lives, because they are a bit more clear about what it is that they want, stating what they want, and using their voices in a more in a way that's more front and forward. So yeah, it's definitely that thing, though. You can't really escape it. You're going to feel.
I know. I was reading the lyrics to the song, and it reminded me. I don't know if you ever see Amy Schumer had the sketch comedy show, and there was a whole skit that was called the "I'm Sorry" skit, and it's basically like women are. It's just like everything was like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry," and it was like that was the premise, and it was like, oh my God, will we ever stop apologizing? So
No.
reading those lyrics, I was like, that it brought me back to that. And I love that so many women can relate. So here is a clip for all of you watching, Jury of One by Rita Wilson.
Guilty. All I am, all I know is guilty. When I leave, when I come home, I'm guilty. About everything I haven't done and everything I do. Guilty. If I'm alone, if I'm with you, I'm guilty. About the lies, about the truth, I'm guilty. About everyone I ever hurt and everyone I'll lose. I don't know what I don't know, but I know that I'm confused. Pleading for forgiveness, but there really is no use. After every
Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so I want to know, how did it feel to bring that visually to life? Tell me a little bit about the video.
Uh, well, to me, that video is sort of in an obtuse way. I don't know how far you got into the video, but to me, it's that moment of like, if you're an artist and you're having a creative block and you kind of go, I got to get out of this space that I'm in, I've got to go somewhere else. And you have to transition. And there's this, and where do you go for inspiration? And so there's this gorgeous sculpture park in upstate New York called Storm King.
Mhm.
And I wanted to look at like, what is it like if you're going up there to get inspiration, to feel like I'm locked in my own head, and I'm not going to feel guilty about taking this time off and going and getting that, getting inspired somehow. So that was really sort of the idea behind that video. And I really wanted to focus on these incredible artists who have so many wonderful sculptures out there.
It's fantastic. Okay, we're going to take some fan questions, but before we do that, I do want to remind everyone, I see that you are shopping and buying Sound of a Woman. I'm so excited. Get that order in. If you're watching Talk Shop Live, click the shop button. If you're on Facebook, comment the word shop. You're going to get a link to purchase. If you're on Instagram, the link in bio will tell you exactly what you need to do. And if you're on YouTube, again, that link in bio will take you to purchase, pre-order the album. And I mentioned it's also signed. You want to get a signed copy? Rita, come, let's show off that baby. You birthed this baby. Come on.
I have the CD. First of all, I want to shout out to my Instagram followers out there. I want to say hi to my friends in Brazil, Chile, Saudi Arabia, Greece. Thank you so much. I love that you guys are joining from all over the world. I don't know how you do that. It's the middle of the night. What are you doing? You should be asleep. But thank you for being here. And of course, to everybody else that is here on relatively sane time zones. But here is the CD. And that's the cover. Everything was shot and the videos were directed by Steven Sebring. That's the front cover. That's the back cover. And inside is, I wanted to create something that felt like it was a bulletin board of all the creative inspiration, because I love a good bulletin board. I love putting stuff up there and just, sometimes you switch it out, but you can see there's beautiful sculptures in there. And many of the sculptures, if you see in the Sound of a Woman video, are by the artist Prune Nouri. And she was the one who was so generous and allowed me to use her incredible sculpture called Amazon that you see in the Sound of a Woman video. So all like little scrapbooky photos and this. And I'm going to show you what's inside here too, because
I feel like Rita Wilson is a Pinterest queen then, if she loves a bulletin board.
Kinda. But I love that. Oops, wrong way. This way. I love the CD matches the cover and the back cover.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
And the vinyl, I wish I had the vinyl here to show you, but the vinyl is very cool because it also it matches. It's like, it's called, I think, charred tomato, or I don't know, some gorgeous, like you want to eat it color.
Right.
And that is the vinyl. It's so beautiful. It's kind of like this gorgeous orange. And then this is the booklet with lyrics, because I'm all about the lyrics. I want to know.
Yes, give me a booklet with all the lyrics. This is fantastic.
When I was a kid, I used to be on my floor in my bedroom. I had a turntable in there. And what did I do? I sat there and I read every musician, every studio that everybody was recording in, who sang harmonies, who wrote which songs. And then, oh my gosh, look, Danny Korchmar's playing on James Taylor and Linda Ronstadt. So is Waddy Wachtel. And you got to know all these musicians. Those are the thank yous. And the last,
I want to memorize the songs, of course. I love that. I love that photo.
To me, that's really what it's all about. Like you got all this storytelling, and I want to know what the stories are.
Exactly. Okay, so fans, I'm also getting a lot of your voices, angelic. We love you, Rita. There's so much love for you here, as I mentioned. So Jasmine wants to know, hi, Rita. This album feels so real. Was there a song that surprised you once you were finished?
Oh, that's kind of a good question. You know what's so interesting about the creative process is when you're writing them in this very intimate way, and they're just very pared down. It's like either guitar and vocal or piano and vocal, right? And when you take the song, then you have a vision for it and you hear it in your head in a certain way. So I think adding the strings and adding the choir to a number of songs, that was really surprising in how a song can expand to become something so much bigger than even you can imagine. Because when you bring other artists in to do their thing, play their instruments, use their voices, they're bringing their own humanity to it. So that's all coming into what the final product's going to be. And I was very surprised by how it felt very powerful to me and at the same time very intimate.
Love that. Okay, Jason wants to know, how would you describe the sound and feel of this album?
The sound and feel of this album, how would I describe it? It's an exaltation, it's empowering, it is intimate, it's honest, truthful,
Okay.
and still very much, I love melody and I love a good hook and I love something you can sing along to. So it's it's really important for me that that is still something you can do. You can sing along to something and still have it say something that maybe at first listen you're kind of like, oh, this is a cool bop. I'll be listening to this, and then you kind of go, wait a minute. What was that? So hopefully it's that. But yeah, there's so many songs that are I feel um there in Michelangelo, which you will hear later, and we can talk about it more, but that's really about the unraveling and unlayering of your external selves and identities to get to kind of
Right.
the who you really are in that essence.
It's what a process. Okay, Astrid has two questions here. Do you plan on doing any concerts in upstate New York? And what made you decide to start doing music all those years ago? And why did you have this talent hidden for so long?
I'm not doing upstate New York, but I will be doing New York City. And those dates are also on my website, ritawilson.com, and they're also on my Instagram and Facebook. Um, but okay, so what got me writing all so many years ago? It was really a conversation I had with a songwriter called Cara Diaguardi. And I will tell this story until my last breath because she changed my life. And it was this, we met, we had done Chicago the musical, but at different times.
Right.
And our dance captain, Greg Butler, said, I think you should meet Kara. You would really get along. So we did. And when I met her, she's like, what would you like to do? And I said, oh, I would love to write songs like you do, but I can't. And she said, why? And I was like, because I don't play music. I don't read music. And she goes, neither do I. Do you have something you want to say? And when she said that, it really did. I knew immediately that the answer was yes. And it really did open up for me that there was even that possibility. And she said, in more ways than one, not only was there a possibility, but that she would write my first songs with me. And we did. And she brought in another great songwriter, Jason Reeves, and we wrote Grateful. And that ended up going on my first album of original music.
It's incredible. Of course,
But
I
I
love
also say one
story.
thing. I think there are so many creative people out there, and so many people have dreams. When I think about it being like my first love, which it really was, but back when I was little, I didn't know how to start a band. I didn't know how to do any of that. And when I was touring and I would sign CDs afterwards, and people would say, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to do, and there was always a fill in the blank. And I would say, well, why don't you? And they were like, oh, my parents said if I wanted to be a writer that they wouldn't pay for my college, or, that being a poet isn't a real job, or being an artist. And it was always some sort of negative about being a creative person. And I really feel like there's so many incredibly talented people out there who haven't explored what their gifts are. But if you have them, do it. It's not too late. I'm here to say it's not too late.
I love that. Okay, so You were talking about that you're going on tour. It's super exciting. So I would have to ask, because someone in our chat asked you, Gina wants to know, what's your favorite song to perform live? I mean, it has to be exhilarating just to get on stage and be able to bring your music to life.
There's so many fun. Well, I haven't been performing these songs live, but in the past, I would say I love a song called The Spark. I love a song called Wild Old Woman. That was my single last summer. These are very up tempos. There's one that I haven't recorded, but I do it live, called Before I'm Gone. I love Throw Me a Party, which is about when I had cancer and didn't know, what the prognosis was going to be. But then when I had those conversations with my family, I was like, look, at the end of the day, if something happens and I'm not here, just throw me a party. And that's what that song is about, because it really should be a celebration of life and who the person is and what they put out in the world.
I want to get into the title of the album and one of the tracks, Sound of a Woman. We have a video for that, but talk to me a little bit about bringing the song together.
Sound of a Woman was the first song. It was the whole idea behind the album, which Amy and I were talking about. And it really was, at first started like kind of like a joke, like, what is the sound of a woman? Was it a scream? What are we doing here? And it came from that idea that there's so many facets to who we are, and that there's quiet strength, there's vocal strength, there's intelligence, there's intuition, there's all of these things. And whether they're actual physical sounds or whether they're things that come through in the silence, it was a way that women use their voices to communicate. And sometimes, like the first verse said, it's a sigh that she makes when she's tired, a single tear that falls when she cries. It's so many observations that we've had over the years, that I've had, Amy had, about what that experience is like.
Right. And so we have a clip from that, and we want to show that to our viewers. This is a clip from Sound of a Woman, Rita Wilson's new album. We're going to pre-order. Make sure you do that.
Thank you.
It's a sigh that she makes when she's tired, a silent tear that falls when she cries. It's a shout at the top of her voice when she's trying to be heard above the noise. It's doors slammed closed, it's taking blows, it's hiding things that no one knows. That's the sound of a woman. Speaks her mind when she's told she shouldn't. Says she can when they said she couldn't. Because she keeps fighting cause she needs to. When you're hurting, yeah, she bleeds too. When you're hiding, she still sees you cause she knows. It's crashing waves that never break, the song that plays and never fades, the heartbeat that keeps pounding like a drum. That's the sound of a woman.
It's visually so beautiful, especially when it together with the song. Did you intend, Rita, when you're working and putting all the music together and figuring out the sequencing of the album, that it's an arc almost? Like, does it tell a story, all of it together?
Yes, it does. It tells the story. Sound of a Woman opens it because it's sort of like the prologue of the album. Like, here's what you're about to experience, and then all the songs are definitely related to specific times in a woman's life or experiences in a woman's life.
I mean, and we talk about, and you mentioned it earlier, how the progression of it, and it talks about that self-acceptance, about that like the emotional journey. But for you and in your own journey, have you noticed a change with the evolution of who you are and your voice, especially as you've seen from your first album to now?
Absolutely. I definitely think the songwriting process has taught me so much. And when I started going down to Nashville to write, I felt like I was writing in a master class with, out ever graduating college, and somebody threw me in with all the grad students and like, here, have fun.
No.
Um, it was such a gift, and also I soaked up everything that I could possibly soak up, because it was so I knew that the writers that I was writing with were people that I had admired so much, and I was very humbled by the fact that they included me in their community.
Right.
And I think that the reason why I am still writing is because of them, but also because I've spent so much time in Nashville, which really has become so much a center of the music business, that I have my own community there now, which is pretty great. And yeah, I'm a different person now. I'm a different person than when I started writing music, and I'm a different person than I was even a year ago or 2 years ago. So yeah, I think we're all trying. Anybody who is an artist in any format, is you're always trying to get to the clearest part of who you are and saying the most truthful things that you could possibly say. That's the goal anyway.
Absolutely. Okay, I have to give a shout out to Juliana. She bought 4 signed copies of the CD. Thank you, Juliana. Thank you, all of you who are shopping, getting your signed pre-orders right now of Rita's new album, Sound of a Woman. This makes me so happy, and you're obviously
I feel like
supporting.
a little
Yeah,
bit like Joan
you.
Rivers right now on QVC, like, oh, buy 4 CDs, buy 4 CDs. What do you want?
CD.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. What is that? Oh my God. No.
I signed it just for you, just for you.
4 CDs, 4 CDs right here, TalkShopLive. Oh.
I love it. Okay, I have a great fan question. I have to get to this one. This is from Rhonda. She wants to know, you are so talented, singing, songwriting, painting, acting. Do these talents ever overlap when you're creating in one forum, or do you have to step aside and refocus? Also, I love your work.
Thank you so much. I would say yes, definitely painting. Like all my merch on the merch store, I have a merch store on Amazon.com, and there's so many things that I've painted, like I watercolor. So tote bags, pop sockets. I can't remember what else is on there that I've painted, but stuff there. T-shirts. Definitely. I did a song a couple of years ago called I Want to Kiss Bob Dylan, and I painted the cover of that because Bob Dylan is an artist, and I was also inspired not only by his paintings, but also by Joni Mitchell, who also used to paint her own covers. So I painted that cover. I don't think I've painted any other covers, but yeah, I've done notebooks for a museum in Greece, the Cycladic Museum of Art. I painted a bunch of covers for notebooks based on the sculptures that they have in that museum. So I try to keep all of that going. One time, and this is part of the design on the merch store for some things, was to these little evil eyes, which is traditional in Greek culture, but also in many Middle Eastern cultures. And I painted. I took all that painting and transferred it onto a file, and then printed it onto fabric and made pajama pants for everybody for Christmas.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I want on that Christmas list. I want that. I want those pajama pants. That's awesome. Okay, one more question we have here. Chandra wants to know, okay, it says, what shows are you watching on TV right now? This is when you're not singing and painting and acting. And you have time.
Besides Jeopardy, because that's who I am, I'd say I love music documentaries. So I just watched the Red Hot Chili Peppers documentary, which was incredible. I recently rewatched Out of Africa because I hadn't seen that movie since it came out. That was incredible. Yes, I'm watching The Last Thing He Told Me because I love the show, but I happen to be in it this season. So I love everything. I just love the way that show is going this season, and Jennifer Garner's amazing.
Of course.
What else am I watching? I watched I was trying to show someone the other day, like, who's interested in dancing, um, just the history of dance, and so I put on That's Entertainment, which is this documentary on incredible movie musicals from the MGM
Oh,
musical days, and, I mean, some of the production in there is so out of this world, and the dancing is spectacular. So
where's
it's
that?
all over the place, it's eclectic.
I love that it's eclectic. That sounds like a great documentary, actually.
It's
Wow.
good. There's 2 of them too, so you can watch That's Entertainment 1 and 2.
That's amazing. Okay, we're gonna jump into Michelangelo, but before we do that and we talk about the song, I do want to say that you're gonna be in New York here at the 92Y with your
Yeah.
friend Demi. She's gonna be moderating a conversation with you. Tell me more about the album. Tell me more about that event coming up.
So, yes, on April 28th at the 92nd Street Y, and I know it's weird. It used to be I mean, a YMCA, but there's many theaters in there. So they host literary events, and in this case, we're going to be talking about the album and its narrative. I'll be doing 2 performances, and I'll be interviewed by Demi Moore, who is a dear old friend and a very inspiring woman herself. So we'll be talking about that on Tuesday. No, what's the day? Don't tell us. April 28th. I don't know if it's a Tuesday, but it's April 28th.
It's a Tuesday. I believe it is a
Okay.
Tuesday. Yes, you're correct. And we can get tickets for that. We're gonna definitely look online for that. Thank you, Rita, for that. All right, let's get into Michelangelo because we definitely want to talk a little bit about this song and how this one fits into the arc of that emotional storytelling that you were talking about earlier.
So Michelangelo, it's called that because I had on my bulletin board for a really long time this quote uh, that was a quote from Michelangelo because he was asked. He's that very, very famous sculptor who made the sculpture Pietà and David and these incredible angels. And somebody had asked him how he was able to create all these incredible sculptures out of these really massive chunks of marble, these blocks. And he said, I see the angel in the marble and I carve until I set him free. And that really just like, oh, it blew my mind. And I put that quote on my bulletin board because it felt to me like, first of all, that you can have a vision for something and not exactly know where you're going, but you see it in your head.
Right.
And everything we do to carve away so that all those things get to the point of what that piece or what that creation is supposed to be. And to me, it was very reminiscent of being a woman and an arc of a woman's life, that we spend a lot of time shedding the identities that are given to us over the course of so many years, whether you're being told you're a sweet little girl or a sassy little teen or, a wonderful mother or wife or worker or girlfriend or caregiver to your parents, whatever it is, that I feel that underneath all of that is still somebody who's essentially who you are. And this quote really resonated with me because I feel like that's what we're doing. We're just trying to not eliminate those identities, but
Right.
bring those people along with us because they all make up who we are. And we want to just be that most essential person.
And it's sort of like carving. I love that image that you described. It's like carving yourself, like who you are to become, having a little bit of that blind faith, which is not always easy.
Yeah.
Where,
There's
go.
a beautiful quote in the video that you'll see, and it says, "There's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you," by Zora Neale Hurston.
Ooh,
And to me, that is also very true because I think so many people feel unseen and so many people feel that they have something to say and they have a story that they want to tell, but they aren't for a number of reasons. But I wanted to say that I understand that, and I think it's important to try to say as much as you can say over the course of your life, and to try to get that story out there.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have a clip from Michelangelo from Sound of a Woman. Take a look.
Every word, every line, little hurts, little crimes, every flaw, every fault, every crack redefines, every cut, every chip makes you whole bit by bit, even though you don't know at the time. Like a sculptor in a stone, she will make the shape her own, 'cause she knows that in the carving she'll come through. There she is. She was in there all along, but no one knew. She emerged out of the stone and then she flew, freer than ever before. There she is. She was fighting for her angel to be found, and everyone around her sees it now. Undeniable and oh so clear. She worked for years. Now there she is.
That's absolutely beautiful. I love that that's where you are. You're creating. You're in the space right there.
Yeah, that's also the sculptures you see. There are also the sculptures of Prune Nori. She was really she's an amazing French sculpture, and she also did the one in the Sound of a Woman video as well.
So talented. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up. I have like one more or two questions for you. I feel like I can keep talking to you forever, but I want to know mostly what for you. I mean, obviously you're so multifaceted, Rita. You do so much. I mean, where does this album stand for you now? I mean, once you've this baby is coming out to the world, everyone's going to take a listen. And again, I mean, it's hard to say compare, but where does it sit in all the achievements that you've accomplished?
You know, it feels like a very personal album and a very personal project to me. And I think in some ways it's its own little microcosm of Michelangelo. You know, it's all of the songs that I've written coming up to this point have brought me to this album. And I feel that without all of those other songs, I wouldn't have been able to write this album.
Yeah.
And so it's in that way, you know, the 13 years that I've been writing has allowed me to shed identities that I thought maybe I needed to be doing in music that weren't completely me. I feel like I've always tried to be very truthful, but this feels like a much closer project in a way.
What will you explore next? What's next on the let's conquer, let's do?
I don't really have, I mean, I'm just so excited to be out touring with this. I want to shout out to Instagram because I'm coming to Pittsburgh. I saw somebody out there who's like, Pittsburgh, yes. Boston, yes. I'm coming your way also.
Someone asked here for Maine. Are you going to Maine?
Not yet, but you never know. Never say never. And so, yeah, I'm sorry, Kathy, what was the last question?
What are you going to do? What will you do next? Will we take a break? Are we going to jump to the next adventure, the next
No, because I'm still in this adventure and I'm still totally present in it. I'm so excited to be touring with it and to be able to play these songs live and do, you know, just I want to be with the audience. I feel like, I mean, there's a song on the album called This Song, and it's about the experience of being on stage. And sometimes when I first started playing, I was in these little clubs and nobody was listening. You were just kind of like, out there. But I would always find one person that was listening. I'd look for them and I'd be like, okay, is it you?
Right.
Was it you? Is it you? Oh, it's you. And then I would sing to that person because I thought, if you are getting it, that's all that matters. It's like, you are the one person. I'm singing this song for you. So to me, it feels as if I'm able to do that, right? I still want to be able to do that, even, in any way, shape, and form.
And when the fans open this album, they put it on the record player, or they put it, to listening to on CD. What do you hope they take away from it? What do you hope they walk away with this album?
Uh-oh, they gave me a dream.
Fine. There you go. There you go.
Let me try this one. Oh, wow. They're all dry, people. I
Don't
promise.
worry. Once you shop, it's that Sharpie's going to be working. You're going to get your signed copy. So make sure you click that shop button.
That's right.
Goes.
It'll be out there, but it'll be in very
there.
Wait, what was the question?
So what do you hope fans take away from this album as they sit, as they're listening to it on their record player? What do you want them to, what is your hope for them?
That it's literally to have the conversations, just to start the conversations with their friends, with their mothers, with their husbands, with their children. Just have the conversations about what I'm singing about in this album. It was funny, even though the album is called Sound of a Woman, I was in England and I was driving. I wasn't driving because other side of the street can't drive.
Yeah, other side of the street.
But I had to drive. And this driver was this really great young man and very proper, very buttoned up. And I had just come from the studio in Nashville. So I had to listen to what is called the roughs, which is like, it's just what you've worked on. No strings are on it, no choir, nothing. And I was listening to it. And at the end, he said, "Is that you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, you've made me quite weepy." And I was like, "I made you quite weepy?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, it's like everything I've always heard from my mother, my sister, my girlfriends, and I've just never heard it put that way." And I was like, "So I made you weepy?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "You've made my day."
So is this proper Englishman the first person who listened to the album?
Yes. And it really showed me that, so many men have these incredible women in their lives, and I would love for them to be having that conversation. Every man has a mom and maybe a wife or a sister or a friend that they love. So to me, it's really about that. Let's just keep talking about what it's like. What's the experience like?
Absolutely. And let's keep ordering. And if you're watching after, share it with your friends. Rita Wilson's new album, Sound of a Woman, is coming out in a couple of weeks, but you can pre-order here, signed copies on TalkShopLive. So click that shop button, go on the link on YouTube, on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, comment the word shop. And order one copy, or do like Joanna, and Juliana ordered 4 copies. So do like her as well.
Oh, it's Joan Rivers. You're going to order this. You're going to order for your mother, your sister, your girlfriends. You're going to order for your mother-in-law. She'll love you for it. You're going to order it.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you. Well, thank you for coming on Talk Shop Live, Rita. It's been such a joy to spend Tuesday evening with you. Thank you.
And Kathy. Thank you, Talk Shop Live. Thank you, Instagram.
And congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guilty. All I am, all I know is guilty. When I leave, when I come home, I'm guilty. About everything I haven't done and everything I do. Guilty. If I'm alone, if I'm with you, I'm guilty. About the lies, about the truth, I'm guilty. About everyone I ever hurt and everyone I'll lose. I don't know what I don't know, but I know that I'm confused. Pleading for forgiveness, but there really is no use. After everything I've done, there's a jury of just one, and it's me. Sorry, I'm trying